EYL episode 24. Listen, we got a special treat for y'all. We recorded so much content for this episode that we decided to put it out in two parts. So part one, you're about to listen to. Part two is going to be released this Friday at 5. That's right. This Friday at 5. Part two to this episode. In part one, we're going to give you a step-by-step guide on how to build, how to market, how to monetize your social media. Rashad is a magician at that. So he's going to give you his playbook on how he went from 500 followers to 80,000 and how that same strategy grew the Earn Your Leisure page from 0 to 70,000 in less than 6 months. In part two, we're going to sit down with Cole Midkiff, the co-founder of QuickTrack, a legal app that is tearing up the game right now, how he developed his app, how he's monetizing it, and how he has a chance to have a valuation in the 9 figures. So tune in to part two of this episode this Friday at 5. Don't miss it.
All right, guys. Welcome back. EYL
number 24. One over Jordan.
The Kobe year.
Yeah.
Yeah, last week was the Jordan week. This week is the Kobe week.
Kobe.
Yeah. So this is gonna be a good one. This is a good episode. Something that people have been asking us for.
Yeah, definitely.
Something that's very important. It's going to be the technology episode.
Yeah.
Right. So we're going to talk about a few different things as far as tech is concerned. We're going to talk about social media, right? How to grow your social media presence, how to monetize social media, the whole 101 on social media campaigns. And then we're also going to go into the app world, right?
Yeah, something that we've had some brief experience in.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. So we're going to talk about the app world. We're going to talk about how to build the app, how to monetize the app. We're going to talk about VCs, funding, all kinds of stuff, right?
Yeah.
As far as apps are concerned. And we're also going to talk about peer-to-peer contracts. And this is how to make money in tech. Remember, if you watch the social media movie of Facebook, what was that movie called? With
The Social Network.
The Social Network.
Yeah.
And they told them, they said, look, $1 million isn't cool. $1 billion is cool.
Like,
that's a fact. That's a
$1 billion
fact.
is real cool.
That's what this episode is about. This episode is about
real quick. We actually try to put that in context, right? When we try to describe the difference between $1 million and $1 billion, right? And I always tell people to try to change it into time, right? Like I ask people, like, how long do you think 1 million seconds is? Like, how long do you think?
Probably a couple of years.
12 days.
Okay, never
right?
mind.
How long do you think 1 billion seconds is?
My first answer.
36 years.
There you go.
So like 12 days, 36 years. Like put that conceptually. That's the difference between $1 million and $1 billion.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
But we got a special guest today, my man Cole Midkiff. Thank you for joining us.
That's our guy.
So Cole, we gotta tell the backstory how we met Cole, right? So we were in LA, and one of our favorite interviews, Romeo Brown, right?
Yeah.
If anybody's not familiar, I think that was
episode 17.
Episode 17.
Yeah, the town.
Romeo, the town. Shout out to Oakland. So we did that last minute, like all of our interviews, right? And we were in LA, and somebody said, like, this is a good person for you to interview. His sister, actually, to one of our comrades, Mike. And shout out to Mike. So
the legend.
So I spoke to Romeo on the phone, and I'm like, are you interested? So we spoke, and I got a good feel for him. Like, I think he'd be a good person to interview. So he's like, all right, come to the spot at 10 o'clock in the morning on Sunday.
Yep.
I'm like, all right, cool. So when we get there, 10 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, the first thing he tells us is,
got a meeting.
He said, I got a meeting at 11.
Busy. He's got somewhere to be.
Yeah, the first thing he tells me.
No. He said, I got a meeting with his business manager at 11:30. Pretty much saying, like, yo, this gotta be quick.
Yeah, guys.
All right, cool. Long story short, we left Romeo at 11:30 at night.
Yeah, it was a crazy day.
We spent the whole day with him, right?
Whole time.
Yeah. So
Like that.
Shout out to Glendale.
Yeah, shout out to Glendale, California. So so his little brother, that's Big Bro.
That's Big Bro. Right?
Yeah, his little brother joined us afterwards, Cole, and we just kicked it off, and just a super cool dude. And we was talking, he was telling us about this app that he has, and the app was amazing. So we just stayed in communication, and then he was on the East Coast, and we reached out, and he's like, I want to come on the show. I'm like, yeah, for sure. Let's talk about that.
When he was telling us about the app, it was funny because I'm like, yo, Cole, I think I heard you on the radio. I just heard about this, man. Like, I know I just heard about this. And I was like, weren't you on the radio?
And no clue what he was talking. I was so flattered. I was like, no, but thank you. Like,
It didn't hit me till 2 weeks later. Like, oh, I saw him on social media. He made it to the Shade Room. That's why I saw it.
Oh, Shade Room.
He's in the
That's
Shade
a
Room.
fact. That's a fact. That's a fact.
I'm like, yeah.
Shout out to I was in the Shade Room too. Twice.
There we go.
Twice.
Alumni.
So, yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. Shout out to the Shade Room.
Yeah.
All right. So before we gonna go into that though, because that's important. As I said, we're gonna try to make hundreds of millions of dollars, and that's the app. That's the world we're in with the apps.
Yeah.
The apps is if we're not playing around with app money, that's a different type of money. All right. So before we go into that, we're gonna talk about how to grow your social media platform, right? And as we said, this show is fully transparent. So I will be giving firsthand knowledge,
A step-by-step booklet.
step-by-step
for you to
the
get
almanac,
IG on
Yeah.
track.
Got the real,
from yours truly,
Yeah, man.
right? So
I mean, it's one of the first things that people ask, even like our alumni. So now you officially hear that you are now alumni. They always ask like, "Yo, I seen y'all on IG. How did y'all get this growth?" And there's some steps that they obviously don't know.
that's a fact. So we're gonna jump right into it.
Let's open the door.
All right. So as far as before we even talk about growing social media, I want to make this completely, just put it out there. You don't have to grow your social media if you don't want to, right? It's
Right.
not like something that a lot of times people feel pressured by the numbers of followers that they have. It doesn't matter. Like everybody doesn't have to have 1 million followers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know plenty of millionaires that have 100 followers.
Right.
I know plenty of people that are dead broke that have 3 million followers. Happens all the time.
True.
But social media can be used as a very powerful marketing tool. So as an entrepreneur, as a small business person, as anybody, a musician, whatever, if you want to, market yourself, social media is a great way to actually do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll talk about growing a social media presence. I'll talk about Instagram because that's what I know, right?
Yeah.
That's my thing.
the world.
Yeah.
So, all right. So I'll tell the backstory on this. So this started 2 years ago, right? I was in California with Mike, my man Mike.
I was there.
Yeah, you were there.
Yeah,
That's
I was.
a fact.
You left me out the story.
No.
Me and Mike had the
I
best
left. I
time.
left.
He left. He left the day early. He left like 2 days early.
Yeah.
So we were there for my birthday, and like the last 2 days when Troy left, we sat in a hotel room for like 10 hours, and we mapped out a strategy for me to grow on Instagram, right? Because I was saying like, I want to be like a financial guy on Instagram, but I don't really know how to go about it. But I feel like there was a need for it in the marketplace. Mm-hmm. So at the time, I had a private page. I had 500 followers. So we talked about, different strategies that you can take, right? So first thing that we did was figure out exactly like what my goals were, right? So the first goal was to get 5,000 followers, right? But we had history in growing an Instagram page prior to that, right?
Yeah, I think we talked about it a little bit.
Fashion Wave. Yeah, we never put that out though.
Yeah.
So Fashion Wave was a fashion blog that we started in 2012.
Yep.
Right? Because in 2012, I saw the direction that Instagram was going in. I like to call myself a visionary. I kind of saw it happen before it happened. So what happened is that
He's done it.
There it is.
Humbly speaking,
I'd agree. Let's go for it.
I used to follow a page. I still do follow the page called Fashion. What was the name of it?
Oh man, I was gonna say Fashion Bomb, but it's not. That's not her.
Yeah, it was a fashion page. And long story short, it's like a lookbook, right? But what I realized in 2012 was that they were putting like it would be a woman with a dress, but then in the caption it would say where to get the dress from. So it was an ad, but it was camouflaged as a regular post.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Most people didn't realize what was going on. This is before it sponsored ad. But I realized right away, I'm like, oh, this is brilliant. Like this is a way where you can reach millions of people online. Yeah. It's much cheaper, I was assuming, for people to advertise on her Instagram page as opposed to go to like a magazine
100%.
or TV, and it's much more effective, right?
Well, the funny thing is to not to just hop in that real quick, and we'll probably maybe go into the genesis of all this. But I had a clothing company for a long time before any of this, and I remember during the Instagram, days of like the 2012s and up, where that was the lick. Like that, you would go in there and you'd be like, oh, like this, that was before the algorithms kicked in and all the money came in the mix. But that was a period of time where it was really like, oh, I can just put this out here, and even if I only have 3,000 people seeing, all 3,000 of them are seeing
exactly,
it though.
Exactly.
And I put my link in, and we'll just go from there. I mean, that changed. That was the way. That was the method.
Yeah. We sat here. It was in this house. Like, we sat here and we were downstairs, and we were like, "Yo, this is crazy. Like, you can't." I'll never forget. You're like, "Yo, print is dead. Nobody uses print anymore.
That's a
print
fact.
is dead."
Yeah, that's a fact. I said that.
Like, this is the new wave right here.
And that's a fact. I said that in
for sure.
2012. I said print's over. This is what it is right now.
We got to be on this.
I'm like, we got to do this. So we started a fashion blog called
Fashion Wave.
Fashion Wave.
Yeah,
Fashion Wave.
2 V's.
Yeah. So we had the Fashion Wave, right? And we built Fashion Wave to like 10,000 followers.
Yeah, we got to 13.
Yeah, it was pretty sizable. How we built Fashion Wave was we did that. We kind of cheated on that a little bit. So there's
Truth be told.
Yeah, no, it's full transparency.
Yeah.
So there's websites and there's apps where you can actually like other people's pictures.
Yeah.
And so the theory is that you like enough pictures, then people see that you liked it. They'll look on your page, and then if your page is
like
decent,
yours.
then they'll
It'll
follow
turn
you back.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It actually worked. It actually
Oh no,
worked.
Instagram.
great.
I can't reiterate this enough. Before the algorithm kicked in, if you were any kind of like, had any kind of savvy on Instagram, like it was so much easier to grow a following, or so much easier to monetize it. Like it was like mind-bendingly easy compared to now.
Yeah, no,
Right. Sure.
it was. So we were doing that, and it was growing at a pretty fast rate, right? And then we actually even paid for a shout out.
Yeah.
The shout out page. The shout out pages too. So we paid for a shout out. That helped us.
We
Paid for it was a shout out page for like 800,000. They shouted us out, and off that shout out we got like 2,000 followers.
Yeah, in a day.
Yeah, and
It's crazy.
Yeah, it was
For
crazy.
sure. Yeah, it was going.
crazy.
So
So-
phone stopped working.
Yeah, it was like,
turn
oh,
off.
my.
Yeah.
After like a couple of months, like I said, we got up to around 12,000 followers. Now, this is a cautionary tale though. So this is the first experience with me growing a page, us growing a page, right? The only thing that we didn't do, that's another thing that you can do, is you follow people and then you unfollow. There's apps for that also. Now, all of those ways work. Pay for shout outs, pay to like other people's pictures, pay to an app to follow somebody, then unfollow them. All of those, they actually all work, but they're not effective.
Right.
Because what happens is that you get followers, but they're ghost followers, right? So what happens is that now they're not engaged. So you have 10,000 followers, but you might be getting 50 likes on your picture.
Yeah. Or you have like 50,000 followers, and there's like 2 comments.
Yeah.
The ratios.
The ratios
It's
off.
just
Yeah.
crazy.
It's not effective. It's a fast way to grow a page, but it's not effective, right? So learning from that experience, fast forward like 5 years, when I was starting my page, I said I didn't want to do it that way. I wanted to do it organically. So I did it organically, and so the first thing I did was I talked to Valencia. She was a
Shout out
guest
to
on our
Val.
show. Yeah, so Val, she had a page where she had 160,000 followers, something like that. She's mastered social media. So the first thing that she told me was, look what everybody else in your industry is doing and do the complete opposite.
Go the other way.
Do the complete opposite, right? I didn't fully understand her at first. It took me a while, but now I definitely understand her. So, right, a lot of it for me was trial and error, right? So I was posting. The first thing you have to do is post very consistently on Instagram. That's the number one thing. That
Content.
No. You gotta have content. That's the first thing that will knock out 90% of the people right away. They're not consistent. It sounds like it's easy,
It's not.
but it's not.
It's not.
It's not.
It's not.
right?
It's not.
So that's the first thing you have to do is post content, right? The next thing you have to do is actually figure out what kind of content you're going to post and how is it different from everything else and how is it going to be intriguing to the audience, right? So like for me personally, it took me a while to figure that out because at first I was just making like random selfie videos about finance and stuff like that. But for me, it was kind of boring. And it got some traction, but it was boring. But as I was doing that, I was still growing the page. It wasn't growing a lot, but it was growing, right? It would go from like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, because I was just putting out constant content.
You got clips of the classrooms.
Yeah, I was putting out classrooms when I was teaching financial literacy and stuff like that. And, it was starting to pick up. But when my page really took off is when I completely rechanged it. So the first thing that Val told me to do was go look on your page and eliminate anything that is unrelated to what you're doing. So she told me that like your Instagram page, if somebody just looks at it for the first time, without reading your bio, they should be able to tell what you actually do. right? A lot of times people have a lot of random different things on your Instagram page, and you don't know what the person does, right?
Specialization.
Exactly.
Oh, they get real artsy with it. So like white picture, black picture, white picture, black picture.
Exactly. So that's one of that's the first thing that I did was I eliminated all of the things on my Instagram page that wasn't really related to what I wanted the public to see in that regards, right? The next thing I did was I started to dig deeper and offer more value than almost anybody else I was seeing on Instagram. So I found my niche in sports and entertainment, but the financial backstories on it, right? So what I would do is I would research articles about different, topics, trending topics, and I would write. I became like kind of a journalist, right? Like I would write like in-depth 3-paragraph write-ups on it, and people really found that intriguing, right?
Yeah, that not to cut you off, but like that was the part I was like, wait, they didn't know these stories? Yeah. Like, I'm like, yo, he's like, yo, you saw that post? I'm like, yeah, they didn't know. And when we saw the feedback, it was like,
it was probably just your conversations already. You were just like, oh, this is what we know, and
and then some of them he posts. I'm like, wait, I didn't know that.
Right.
Okay, now you got something.
Absolutely.
You got something.
Yeah. So that. And then I also so I'm learning as I'm going, right?
Right.
So I said, okay, I found a nice niche with this. Then I also figured out that people like headlines, right? So I kind of mastered the clickbait thing, right? So in all my articles that I was writing, I used the app where I actually put the caption on it. So the caption is very important, right? I can't stress this enough. The caption, if you're writing something, the caption is extremely important because that's what's going to get people's attention, right? So I'll see an article. Now you have to be creative with this. I can't tell somebody how to actually make a caption that's going to get people interested, but you have to think, right? Use your brain. Short. People don't like to read. This is something that is extremely important. People don't like to read. So the least amount of words that you can use, the better. Even with write-ups, right? This is something that Val taught me also. At first, I was writing very long write-ups. Anything more than 3 paragraphs, in my opinion, is too long. Even 3 paragraphs might be too long, but it might not be as long as it's intriguing.
Right.
The key is to make it very detailed in a short amount of time. This is why the Instagram 60-second videos are perfect, because they say the average person's attention span is like 10 seconds or something like that. Right. You lose people's attention very quickly, right? Yeah. So as I'm doing that, I figured out how to capture people's attention by writing about sports and entertainment. I use sports and entertainment because it's like a Trojan horse, right? I know that people are interested in sports and entertainment, pop culture, more than anything else. So if I'm a regular finance guy, I could talk about finance. I know that 90% of people don't care about that. But if I can talk about Allen Iverson and then talk about taxes, or if I can talk about LeBron James and then tie it in with entrepreneurship, 9 times out of 10, people are more likely to click on that or watch that video as opposed to something else.
It's built in, like the medicine's in the candy.
Exactly.
100%. No, that's just the way any of it works. You gotta in order to give them what they need, you gotta kind of give them what they want. It's just the way it works. Yeah.
Exactly. And sports and entertainment come naturally for me because those are the 2 things that I like.
We argue about that all the time.
I love doing that. I've been doing that my whole life, right? So that's why I use sports and entertainment. So I say that to say, as far as somebody going to their Instagram page, you have to think outside the box. It's a finance page, but I use sports and entertainment, which aren't directly related to finance, but it can be, right?
It definitely is. I mean, it's a sports business, so exactly. It definitely is.
So another thing with that is now you have to figure out timing to post. Timing to post is very important. I see people posting at 1 o'clock in the morning. You have to figure out the top times to post. So me personally, my schedule usually on average is like 11 o'clock in New York, Eastern Standard Time. 11 o'clock in the morning, I'll have a post. Maybe like a write-up, right? Or like a picture or something like that. I'll stretch it out I'll do 3 hours, right? So maybe like around 2 o'clock, midday, I'll post something else. I usually try to post videos at like 5, 6 after people get off of work, because what I find is that a lot of times people work. It's hard for them to listen to videos while they're actually working. Mm-hmm. So I don't usually try to post videos. Sometimes I do, but most of the time I don't post videos during the daytime. I post videos at night. Not too late at night though, like right when people get off. 6 o'clock is prime time. 6, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time is prime time to post videos. Yeah. that's just what works for me.
Yeah,
Everybody's different. That's what works for me.
Everything well calculated.
No, you have to be extremely calculated. Yeah. Also, as far as the Instagram, you gotta treat Instagram like a job. So my sleeping pattern has been off for the last 2 years.
Yeah, this is go ahead.
No,
it's a fact.
No, it's a fact. I haven't had normal sleeping in 2 years.
I told you that, man.
Yeah.
Like, no, can I tell you? So, like, most people don't see this, man, but, like, the Earn Your Leisure, like, really is a testament to what you're doing. So, like, I know, like, you're up till 3 a.m. most nights. Like, this guy doesn't sleep. Like, legit does not sleep. Is up all day, works. So sometimes, like, we'll be talking and I'm like, yo, like, wake up, man. Like, right? He's either here, like, super dedicated here,
right.
or he's, like, typing up things. Like, and we could be doing anything. Like, we could be having a conversation, or we could be at dinner, and he's constantly doing it.
Right.
So, like, my thing was, like, I'm watching him grow. And this is a testament, too, that people should learn. Like, I want to see my brother win.
100%.
Like, I want to see him win 100%. So it's like, how can I make this a little bit easier for him? So I was like, you know what? You don't have to search anymore, bro.
Right.
Anything I find, I'm sending.
Well, we'll talk about that.
Oh, we're gonna get there. Yeah,
that's a different page.
Right. No, I'm just saying, like, the testament to what he's doing.
Right.
Like, legit. Like, his mom came out to me and was like, yo, listen, Troy, he got to get some sleep. I'm like, yeah, I don't know if he knows how to anymore.
If someone isn't concerned a little bit, I don't know.
I said, I don't know if he knows how to anymore.
Right.
Legit. Like,
no, because, like I always say, when you really scrambling, there's no work hours. That's the difference. See, people talk about being an entrepreneur and having their own business and really, but you got to understand the average person, we're trained for a schedule. As humans, we start school, and from kindergarten to college, we have a schedule of like 8 o'clock in the morning to like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Even if you're in college, it's still kind of some schedule that you have to go through for classes,
True.
right? And then when you get a job, it's either 9 to 5, 10 to 6. Those are like usual hours jobs, right? So that's what we're trained to think. It's very different when you wake up at any time you want, you go to sleep anytime you want, and then you figure out the day as you go.
Right.
You have to have a different type of mind to do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you are an entrepreneur, that's what it really is. So for me, there's no work hours.
Yeah.
So I have the financial planning business I do during the day. The Instagram, social media I do during the day, but also I do a lot of that at night.
Right.
So I work better at night. So what I do is that
from
like 11 o'clock to like 3 o'clock in the morning, that's when I work. You know what I mean? So I'll research stuff. Then I'll have all my posts ready for the next day.
Right.
It's like meal prep, right?
100%.
You want to have it ready. So now, I have 3 posts already planned for the next day.
Mm-hmm.
So now we have 2 pages. So now I got to have 6 posts planned for the next day. Then I know I'm going to post 11, 3, and 6.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But then also with that, you have to learn. So I seen a video from Nipsey Hussle before when he talked about in the early stages he was his own engineer. He learned every part of the process. That's the same thing with me. I learned every part of the process as far as how to make a post. It's not that easy. So there's different apps that I learned how to use. So the first thing I learned how to do was edit videos. So there's an app called Splice. So when you see a video, it's like if you watch a movie, right? In 60 seconds for like the podcast, when we put clips on Instagram, that 60-second clip might be from a 3-minute video. Yeah. I got to cut out the dead spaces. So a dead space is like this. Like if I'm talking and then it's like 5 seconds of
that little pregnant pause right
that's the
there.
pregnant pause. That 5
sure.
seconds means a lot for an Instagram post, right? So you got to cut that out. Or if I'm making a good point and then I just talk about some nonsense for a minute, but then I make another good point, now I got to cut out that 1 minute, right?
Yeah.
So, and I learned how to do that just by myself. It's not hard, but that's the app, Splice. Also, another app that I use is Vaunt. Vaunt is the app that I put the captions on the videos.
Here's how.
Yeah. So that's the app called Vaunt. Sometimes you want to speed up a video. So Video Speeder is a app that I use to speed up videos. Yeah. Right? It's like you can have like a video might be 1 minute and 10 seconds, but you want to make it a minute. You speed it up so it actually fits in a minute. That's another useful app as well. Then there's another app called Perfect Video. Perfect Video allows you to add music, and then it does some other stuff, right? So I say that to say that learning about apps, and this is why this conversation is valuable leading into apps, is extremely important, because you literally we're in a day and age now where you can teach yourself how to make a movie if you really are dedicated.
Oh, facts.
Enough. Like if you're really dedicated enough, right?
Facts.
Like you don't have to pay anybody to do anything.
University of YouTube. It's just what it is. I'm like, I'll tell you flat out, because I'm gonna need about all of those apps because everything I do, I mean, I handle all the social media and everything and all the content for QuickTrack. And I mean, I'm Premiere Pro and I just do everything through there. But like, I have people who have gone to, LA Academy of Film and have been like, how'd you do that? And I'm like, I just YouTubed this, man. Like, what are you talking about?
Nice.
Like,
everything's at the palm of your hand.
There is, my thing is, especially with creating any content, you just have to be able to formulate the question you want answered because there's an app for that.
That's a fact. When they say there's an app for that, there really is an app.
Yeah.
That's a fact. So then also, all right. So now we got to the content. Content, I can't stress this enough. One of the big mistakes that people make on social media is that they think quality is more important than content. It's not true. Content is more important than quality, right? What I mean by that is that you see a lot of people in their videos it looks like
immaculate.
Steven Spielberg, right? They got the music behind it and
lighting.
It's dope.
Yeah, the lighting's great.
They're not talking about anything, right? Our videos shot on iPhone.
Facts.
With a $5.99 app that I use to write the caption on it. Yep. It's not the best quality. Hopefully, we will improve our quality.
That's good too, though, because like our audience gets to see us grow.
The thing about that is, as well, is some wise people once told me this, but once you invest in upping your quality, you can never reverse. You can never go back to just getting off the iPhone and going to work. So you want to stay in there as long as you possibly can. But
it's true. And then also people care more about content. The example I always use is Bobby Shmurda, right? That video was shot on an iPhone, right? It was a catchy dance. He threw his hat in the air and never came back down.
We still haven't found it.
I literally landed in New York and looked up.
We still haven't found it.
It never came back down. It was a good beat and just a good song. And it caught wildfire, right?
It wasn't even his, by the way. Fun fact.
It was Lloyd Banks.
Yeah.
But I say that to say
Jalil Beats.
He didn't spend $1 million on his video.
Didn't have it.
Nah.
And those days are over.
Fire.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The people want what's authentic. They want what's real, and they want content. Yeah. Content is more important. That's why when I tell people all the time, like, content. It doesn't cost anything to pull your iPhone out and just start recording, right? You're gonna figure it out as you go. But if you're waiting to like have the perfect lighting, have the perfect budget, you're always gonna be waiting. Yeah. Because nothing is ever going to be perfect, right?
We find that. I mean, we know that firsthand.
It's part of the game.
It's part of the game. Content is king. And you have to figure out content for yourself because nobody can tell you what kind of content you're going to make, right? Yeah. It got to be something that is unique and solely you, right? Because even with me, like, so when I started doing videos and then I started doing Here's How, like, I didn't see anybody else doing Here's How. Nobody. Here's How. Like, it would be like, how to make $1 billion. Here's how. Yeah. You go on Instagram right now, you see a bunch of Here's How videos. But that's dope, though, because that's saying that people find value in it, right?
Absolutely.
So they only
at first it was like, yo, they biting my stuff. But I was like, yo, it's cool though, because it's like that's the impact.
With how connected we all are, you haven't done anything until someone copies it.
Yeah. But the thing about it is that, because I even see CNN doing it. I saw CNN.
That's one. Yeah. I got that text. You got that text.
Yeah, that would make me. I'd be a little tight. I
got that text.
Nah, but the thing about it is that they can never duplicate your brain. So it's nothing for me to come up with a new idea
at all.
So that's why it's like it's not even, because things move so quick on the internet anyway, right?
Yeah.
So that's another thing too. You can never stay stagnant, and you have to stay up to speed. So like now I'm noticing that Instagram TV is getting more views than Instagram videos. I think Instagram is doing that on purpose. So Instagram, this is something, this is not a conspiracy theory. Instagram has an algorithm, right? And
for those who don't know,
they change their algorithm regularly. They change their algorithm regularly, right? And they also they have all kinds of tricks in place to monitor and to restrict your growth if they feel the need.
100%. They want you have to pay Zuckerberg. It's the way it is. That's how they want. I mean, if you're not hip to it, if you don't actually strategize and go through it and kind of jump through the hoop, if you try to play the same game too long, they'll be like, "All right, sick." Mark Zuckerberg says,
"No." So it happened to me. They shadow banned me twice. So if anybody is not familiar with shadow ban is when they limit the reach of your post without you actually knowing that they limit the reach of your post. So what happens is that hashtags is also another great way to grow your following. Hashtags does work. They do work. But you have to be careful with hashtags, right? Because with hashtags, so what I was doing before is that it was like copy and paste. Like I think you're allowed to put 30 hashtags on a post, right? But I will copy and paste it and put it in the caption, because that way nobody can see it. It's kind of tacky to me to put it in your post, right? But it works. You can see the analytics on it, and it'd be like half of the people was reached through hashtags, right? But what happens is that if you use the same group of hashtags,
that copy and paste theory.
Copy and paste. What happens is that now it alerts Instagram, and they look at your account. They flag your account, right? So now they look at it like it might be spam. They shadow ban you. The first time I got shadow banned, I didn't know what was going on. I just my post just dropped dramatically as far as engagement. How I learned I got how I knew I got shadow banned is that. So I put a hashtag, like one hashtag, like earn your leisure on a post. And then I searched that hashtag and my post wasn't on there. So that means that they took, the hashtag is on there, but it's not showing publicly. Right? And then I Googled what that meant, and then I found out that that's shadow ban. Shadow ban works, it's 14 days to the exact moment. This is true. Because I tested it
twice.
It happened to me twice. 14 days to the exact moment. So now I don't even use hashtags at all.
Hashtags are dead now. Like that's a huge component. They're not dead, but it's you got to mind you got to kind of be mindful of
you got to be very careful with hashtags. That's extremely important. Because like I said, there's a great way to grow, but if you're using the same hashtags, you will get shadow banned.
100%.
So another thing I want to talk about is that a lot of times people, all right, you're going into Instagram to monetize, right? It's important to know the numbers of monetization and what you're looking to do. So what I mean by that is that sometimes a page can have, I'll give you an example. So I know a Instagram model, bartender type. She has like, let's say millions of followers, right? Like let's say 3 million followers.
Right.
I know somebody else who is just a regular person who has 150,000 followers, right? The person who has 150,000 followers, I know for a fact is making more money on Instagram than the $3 million bartender. The reason why is that the 3 million follower bartender is limited in the post that she can, monetize, right? It's like how many companies are going to pay a bartender to post. Like you're limited to lingerie, tummy tees,
waistbands.
Yeah. Maybe Fashion Nova if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Right?
I had a very high end.
Get to it.
So now you have 3 million followers, but it's hard to monetize that. Right. Where the person with 120 followers is a clean page. So now they have major corporations, Macy's, Calvin Klein, all kind of stuff like that are paying, their budget is way higher.
Oh, for
Thousands
sure.
of dollars, $5,000 for one Instagram post, right? So that's something to keep in mind too, because also on YouTube, a YouTube channel, a financial YouTube channel like ours, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube. A financial YouTube channel could have, let's say, 10,000 subscribers. That's more valuable than maybe even 100,000 followers to a page that's cursing, that has all kinds of stuff, right? Because they're not going to get ads.
Right.
YouTube is very restrictive of who they give ads to.
Yep.
They watch it. Even with our post, we had one video with Al Harrington when we talked about the cannabis industry. We didn't get ads on that video because it was cannabis.
The fact that the title had marijuana in it was enough.
Oh, they
for
said
them to say no, this is too risky.
No, for sure.
Yeah. So I mean that's one of those examples where we're learning as we go.
Got to.
So like, that's key.
Move fast and break things.
Yeah. So when you look at monetizing, so what I mean by that is that when you look to grow a page to monetize it, it's not always all about followers. It's about the content that you're putting out and the quality of your post and what you're doing, and also engagement is very important as well.
Yeah.
So don't always get caught up in numbers, because your smaller amount of numbers can actually be very valuable if A, you have strong engagement, and B, you have clean content or content that can be valuable to people that want to use your page as a for advertisement.
Mm-hmm.
And also I will stress the fact that you have to think about long-term game, right? So what I mean by that is that people get in and that they want to make money in Instagram right away, and it's obvious. They get like 300 followers and they start trying to promote a seminar or come to my online course. It's like, no, you don't even have a big enough platform, right? You gotta give out samples first. Right? Yep. So it might take a year or 2 years of giving out free information, free posts.
Yeah.
You're growing your following. Now you can offer a paid product. It doesn't make sense to try to offer a paid product before you've even established credibility. I see that all the time though. People are so thirsty for business. As soon as they get on Instagram, 2 weeks later, I see them promoting paid events.
Mm-hmm.
Those are never gonna work. It's never gonna work. You have to grow your following and then you get money on the back end. The back end is always more lucrative than the front end. I can't stress that enough. People need patience. It doesn't happen overnight. Patience is very key.
Yeah.
Extremely key. And the last thing that I'll talk about with the Instagram growth is that we talked about the long game, but also I cannot stress this enough either. You have to put in work. It sounds very easy. It's not. Social media is like any other job campaign that you're running. It takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. You have to sit down, figure out a strategy, figure out what works for you because everybody's different, right?
Yeah.
And you have to commit time into doing that. If you're not willing to commit time, maybe it's not for you, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Like I say, everybody doesn't have to grow a social media page.
Yeah, that was like a comment, like somebody put in the comments when we were shouting out Mike. We were shouting out Mike, and it was like, well, if he has 1,500, you have 8,000. Why didn't he do it for himself? And that was one of the things. It was just like, he doesn't want to grow his page, right? We'd rather and our team is just like, yo, if Rashad has this thing going, like, let's just support him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, the funny thing is, and to piggyback off that point, that I always think it's interesting because I've always really thought about like the disconnect between people who want to grow their social media following and actually doing it.
Yeah.
And I think it's funny because just because it's in an app, they're looking for, apps are mostly here to, automate, to make things go faster in your life. So they think like, oh, if I want to do this, there should be a way to also automate that process. Right. But that's not the case. It's not. They don't give it the proper respect of like, that dude who got, even his 50,000, sweat equity went into that 50,000.
Sweat equity.
And also too, a lot of times, so like Earn Your Leisure, right? So it took me 2 years to grow my personal page from 500,000 followers to right now I'm at 80. But like, let's say in January, I was at 50,000. So it took me 2 years to grow my personal page from 0 pretty much to 50. Earn Your Leisure, I started, because I run the Earn Your Leisure page, I started Earn Your Leisure in January. It took me 6 months to scale Earn Your Leisure from 0 to 70,000. The reason being, it's a lot easier to scale a page when you already have another page, right? That's something that people don't realize enough either. Even with starting a podcast, people try to start podcasts with 100 followers. Yeah. You don't have an audience. Who's going to listen?
It's all leverage.
It's all about leverage, right?
Yeah.
It's easier to scale. It's easy to scale a page from another page.
Yep.
It's also easier to scale a brand as opposed to a person. People are more likely to follow a brand page than they are a personal page. Earn Your Leisure is growing faster at a faster rate than my own personal page. Yeah. People are more likely, it's just human nature, I don't know why. People are more likely to follow something that doesn't directly attach to one person as they are to a one person's personal page.
Yeah.
Right.
It's so, and that speaks to the point. It's like Earn Your Leisure has 70,000, right? I think I might have just cracked 1,000, but I'm like, that's fine, right? Like, I'm still fine. Like, there's no social equity that comes with that for me. It's like, I'd rather build the brand, let Shadi build his personal brand, and just add value to what we're doing already.
Well,
right?
People want to be a part of something.
Right.
Like you're buying into, like I said, to piggyback off you, if it's one person, they might like that one person, but they're trying to buy in to something bigger than that. Earn Your Leisure is so much bigger. Exactly. It's on the t-shirts. It's so much bigger than just like, oh, that's a good post you just made.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
Because
should be.
As Earn Your Leisure grows, I grow also. Troy said Earn Your Leisure grow, he grows. And also, the last comment I'm going to make on that is the teamwork. As I said, I run the Earn Your Leisure page as far as putting up posts, but I have help. So Troy, the formula that we have for Earn Your Leisure is that Troy sends me
24 hours.
Troy sends me articles in the morning, different financial articles. Then I review the list of articles that he sends me, and I kind of pick which ones would be good for Earn Your Leisure.
Yeah.
I post it, and then I do like a short write-up of it. So now I don't have to look for articles. Troy does that. he sends it to me, and then I do what I do.
Yeah.
So he's doing what he does best. I'm doing what I do best, and we work together as a team. As opposed to him trying to post, that's not really his thing.
Yo, no, I'm gonna tell you, like the first 2 weeks, like I was like finding posts, and I'd be up at like 5:30. Like I told people, like I'm up at 5:30. I know he's going to sleep at 3. I'm waking up at 5:30, and I would try to write these things, and I'm like, you know what? He's mastered this. Like, why? I don't have to reinvent this. Like, I'm gonna let him be great. I'm gonna take some of the load off of him. Like, I'll just send him everything I find.
Well, that's just
that's teamwork.
A good team is not, hey, I need you to learn this. It's, you're really good at this, so we're gonna triple down on what you do.
A lot of people have trouble doing it. It's like, wait, he's getting all the shine. He's getting all the shine. He has 80,000. I'm like, looking, that's my real brother. like, if you see him, then you see me. That's just how I'm feeling. And it takes a lot of maturity, and it takes humility to like get to that point where it's like, you know what? We're all winning. If he wins, we're all winning. You know what I mean? But like a lot of times in our community, we don't work together, and we can't do that. It's like, wait, he's shining. Nah, I gotta shine too. Like, nah, if he shines, we all shining, yo.
100%.
Yeah. So that is my Instagram growth tutorial,
a step-by-step booklet for you to get IG on tap.
And then also one last thing. Engagement is extremely important in Instagram.
Everything.
Try to engage with your followers as much as possible. Instagram Live is extremely valuable. That's a good way to establish engagement. And then also comments. Just reply to as many comments as you possibly can. Reply to as many DMs as you possibly can, especially in the early stages, because now, like for us, it's hard to respond to DMs because we get so many. But in the early stages, when you don't have a lot, take your time, respond to DMs,
every single one,
respond to comments, because it helps your engagement, especially the comments, and then also it shows the people that you care.
And for sure.
There's a face to it.
I cannot overstate that enough. Like you have to engage and build a community. It's not just like you. It has to be a community. So
can we do one thing? Can we do it? We're gonna, like when you started your page, right? Like after the LA trip, like I don't know if we spoke about this before, but there was like a movie that we put together for you. And right? It was the original hashtag Earn Your Leisure. Can we put that out this week?
Possibly.
Y'all gonna thank me later.
I co-signed this. It should come out.
Oh, it's great. It's great. That's great.
What he's referring to is that. So yeah, we had. Like I said, I tried everything. So when I first started the social media campaign, I had Mike. We filmed a mini movie.
I'm all in.
And we had like two models, and it was like a day in the life. And I was like waking up.
It was my first screenplay.
I'm like reading the Wall Street Journal, working out. It was like traveling like through me throughout the course of the day.
It's my favorite thing already. Yeah.
I'm trying to tell you this idea. We were like working out. He was like, "Yo, how should we?" Like literally wrote this screenplay.
It
was great.
Yeah, we wrote it out. Screen.
Wait till y'all see it.
And you know what? And I realized that we was gonna promote it on Instagram, and I realized before I never put it out because I'm like, this is corny. Like,
it didn't pass your test. And I was like, I don't feel a little weird.
This isn't what I want to do. Right? And I want it to be more substance than just me paying models to just run around with me, and you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not
right.
That's important though. Well, no, that's important. But I'm just saying that's important as far as substance. You gotta have substance. You gotta have substance.
Yes.
You gotta have substance.
So they're not gonna get it?
It's out there now. I don't know. I mean, people will probably ask.
We'll see.
Maybe
I might
string it out for as long as you can, and then drop it one day.
We might. Shout out to
buy the merch. They're gonna do a packet. You're gonna get a DVD with it.
We're gonna put that on something.
Yeah. Shout out to the crew that put that together for us.
Hey.
So all right, Troy. Housekeeping.
Yeah, man. Patreon.com/Earn Your Leisure. Patreon. We're growing every week. We get new members, and like I said, it's just a way to support the podcast so that we can, push certain initiatives in your area. We got a lot of people reaching out to us asking how could they help. Patreon is one of those ways, and it's good because we get to talk to our patrons directly. So we've had Shiana, who's been a great patron, and Vicky. We've scheduled a call with her. Charles, Tony, we spoke about last week. We had an amazing conversation with, and we got some new ones this week. So Mercy, shout out to her, and Dijon, and Brenda, who literally joined right before we came on to film this episode, and she said her sons listen, and I think one of them plays football and one wants to be a sports agent. So shout out to her. She had a small request that we're actually going to fulfill in the next couple of weeks. I don't want to give it away, but Brenda, we got exactly what you sent a message about. The episode is coming probably in the next 2 weeks. So shout out to her for joining, and everybody that's been supporting the podcast, whether through Patreon or through earnyourleisure.com, wearing the merch. Thank you for your support. It's growing, man. So thank you for growing with us.
Yeah, the merch is out. I got my emoji shirt on. Troy got the assets over liability.
Yeah, Cole's leaving with that shirt too.
I got mine over there.
Yeah, it's over there.
Yeah.
For sure. So, book tip of the week is going to be, since we talked about tech, Steve Jobs biography. That was a great book I read. I forget the name of it. I think it was called Jobs. That's the name of it. It's called Jobs, and I highly recommend the book because it outlined his journey, and it's interesting. And he's a pretty complicated guy. But the tech, since we're talking about tech, I think that's an appropriate book for entrepreneurs, for people interested in business. Who he's the GOAT. He's Michael Jordan.
I think he did something. Yeah.
Right?
If you're gonna learn from anybody, you should
I was gonna say that's the guy. Yeah, absolutely.
So all right, man. Thank you for rocking with us. We will see you next week.